What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great night. It's been a long day for me. Talked to you guys a little bit earlier live about Saquon Barkley, about James Bradbury. You can go check those videos out. We talked about Slay yesterday. Talked about all this stuff about 2 weeks ago. And look, there's some talk that, numbers this, that, the other thing. An option might not have been added in Saquon Barkley. Look, I'll look into all that stuff later. I showed you already all the numbers you needed to know, everything going down. And remember that $9 million from Bradbury and Slay does not go into effect until June 2nd. So keep all that stuff in mind. But we're here right now to continue this free agent train rolling. So we've gone through all the skill positions, the quarterbacks. Now we are talking about the offensive line and, well, the Eagles' best offensive line in the game. But one important piece that we've got a big question mark about. So obviously he will be talked about here. We're going to talk about the cap space. We'll talk about the O-line as a whole, the situation there we've got. And then, of course, all of the free agent linemen, tackles, guards, centers, exclusive rights guys, restricted and unrestricted free agents. And then we'll talk about the top fits for the Eagles. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Appreciate you all taking the time. Don't worry, I did get to eat. Then I got to see my family for a second. Then my boss showed up, talked to him forever. Then I finally got to finish this show. Now we're going to try to put it out when I possibly can, hopefully around 9:30. We'll see. But appreciate all of you guys. Let's rock and roll here. Started off with that cap space. We talked about the cap savings from Saquon Barkley. Now, they're saying he might not have that $1.3 million because there was an option that was added, blah, 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 whatever his extension. And you guys know, whenever they give him extensions, sometimes those numbers can change. They add things. They do weirdo stuff. I tell you all the time, I will keep you up to date when they release those numbers, when I can see what's going on there. I'll let you know, keep you up to date, but just know the Eagles have a lot of cap space right now. They can do whatever they want. They want to trade for Myles Garrett. They want to sign Zach Bond. Whatever's on your mind, they can do it. I can promise you that. And it doesn't rely on any of these moves as saving cap space because Bradbury, Slay, again, you won't save anything until June 2nd. So we've got the money. Just know that we can sign people. And, well, one of those people we're going to be talking about here tonight. The Eagles' offensive line, just the best. And we have the best offensive line coach. So we're pretty lucky. But as you can see here, we do have some free agents. So Fred Johnson, Jack Driscoll, Raven Clark, and then Nick Gates. But we also have Mekhi Becton, the most important piece here. One of the starters. We know we have Mailata, Johnson, Dickerson, and Juergens all coming back. So Becton is the name of the game here tonight. So Steen, he was drafted to hopefully be the guard of the future. But hey, man, if you can bring back Becton, he's playing at such a high level. I'm all for it, former first-round pick. And look, I like Steen, but maybe you get something in return for him or just have really good depth, continue to develop him. You never know if you need him at tackle. He can play there too. You got Keegan, you got Toth here. Kennard is there as well. And then the reserve future signing, Laken Vakahali, who was the international player last year. So that's what the offensive line has going on. Obviously, Mekhi Becton. That's the big question mark. I like Fred Johnson, Jack Driscoll. We've talked about them, whether you want to bring them back or not. But Mekhi Becton is the most important piece. But before we get into all these other things, let's talk about all these free agents. That is the name of this show. And that is the whole name of the game here, talking about every free agent at every position. So let's get into these offensive linemen, and we'll start it off with the exclusive rights guys. And remember, this is the guys that they have 2 years. These are the guys that have 2 years or less at exclusive rights tender. Allows those teams to put that tender on them, and then they either sign it or they don't play football. So, yeah, they pretty much have to play for that team unless that team does not give them that tender, and then they are unrestricted, free to do as they please. So, bunch of guys there. Again, 2 years or less. A lot of young players you're going to see on these lists. And then, getting into the restricted guys, that is 3 years or less. We talk about teams placing the first round, second round, original round tenders on them, the right of refusal. So somebody wants to match them. That's the things you can do there with restricted free agents. And again, these teams don't have to, put any of these tenders on them and can allow them to become unrestricted. That is the team's choice to do there. So we'll see with any of these guys, but nobody, I'm jumping off the page for to try to sign. But Coyote Awasika, former Eagle and follower of On the Road to Victory. So big shout out to him. Hopefully he's doing well, and hopefully his career continues to grow and he continues to develop. Best of luck to him. Now let's get into these unrestricted guys. We're going to start it off on the right side, right tackles, and these are all guys that were listed as right tackles on Spotrac, I think it was. So whether they played left tackle last year, a little bit of guard at times, whatever, but this is what they predominantly played. This is what they're listed as. This is what you're seeing. So Morgan Moses leading the way there. You got guys like Okorafor, Brown, Beecham, Lamb in there, Questenberry, Radins. Now, look, some intriguing names here. Brandon Parker, some veteran guys, Afedi, Hubbard. But to me, the Eagles are pretty good there. Obviously, you want depth. And I've talked about this over and over again. I would look to the draft. So these tackles, a lot of these guys, I think, are starting caliber. This is not what we need. I don't think that I'm going to be looking here too much because, again, I don't feel that's what we are looking at or what we need. So I'm good there. Now, right guard, obviously, pretty important for the Philadelphia Eagles. You can see Mekhi Becton on that list. Got guys like Scherf, Daniels, Corbett, Kappa, Zeitler, Hernandez, Herbig, former Eagle, all kinds of guys there. And Matt Pryor, another former Eagle on there. You could, Will Fries, a young man who's probably going to get paid. You could definitely find some names that I would be, more than happy to have if I didn't have Mekhi Becton. But, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But here is your list of right guards. Now, getting into the center. Now, this is something the Eagles could use some depth. We had Nick Gates there last year. But Landon Dickerson, really, your backup. Would love to have someone you can rely on there. Again, look to the draft, but you don't need the future there. I thought we had it last year in Dylan McMahon. But, yeah, we waived him, and, well, we found out as he's now a Ram. But you can see some of the centers here, some decent names out there. Again, I'm looking more for a backup, maybe a Shane Lemieux, Bozeman. A lot of names that stick out here that I would be perfectly fine with. Now, at left guard, and again, these guys can play right guard. Maybe they can play some tackle. Regardless, this is just how we have them listed. Former Eagles, Sua Opeta on there. You see Dalton Reisner, Feliciano, Bredesen. So I'm going to be looking at more of these high-end guys if I'm not getting Mekhi Becton back. But that's not how I'm working here or how I'm feeling. And now finishing it up with the left tackles here. And we've got the best in the game, Jordan Mailata there. But, yeah, there's definitely some Larani. That's just Ronnie Stanley. Not sure what I did there. But some intriguing names. It's been a long day. Bear with me. But a lot of names, if you're looking for a left tackle, you definitely have some promise there. So a lot of free agents for the offensive line here. All 128 you just saw there. So let me know how you're feeling. Anybody you would like from that list. I picked out 5. I actually wanted to do 10. But today's just not holding that time for me. And this video is going to be out late. So hope you watch it. Hope you enjoy it. We'll be getting into the defense next. Can't wait for that. But let's talk about these top fits. And if you heard me throughout this show, I obviously was saying, my apologies. You heard me saying about backup guys. I'm not looking for really a starter, but we'll talk about both a little bit. So I'm looking for guys that a veteran right now. Andres Pete, we're going to start off. Let's just put it that way. 6'7", 315 pounds. He's 31 years old, going into his 11th season. His PFF grade looks like his age. That's not good at all. But you see, he had 1 start, gave up a sack, a hit, 3 pressures, had 57 offensive snaps total. So didn't play much. But this is a veteran that you could talk down to getting very, very low. But it's a versatile piece. Somebody that comes in the offseason, provides some, challenge for these young guys we hopefully draft. And then if you sign anybody else. But again, I'm not looking to spend big here. I'm looking for a backup that can play some tackling guard like Jack Driscoll did. So if you don't bring back Driscoll, maybe you get an Andres Pete. This is not a guy I want starting anytime, anywhere, but a special teams guy that can help you as that third tackle on certain downs, that 6 offensive linemen. I would be okay with that. And you never know what Jeff Stoutland can do with these guys, especially someone 6'7", 315 pounds. So maybe something special at the end of his career here, just being a part of it would be great for him. But just a name I wanted to throw out there, just showing you how I feel about this position, back end guys. So Kendrick Green, another one. But this dude, a center and a guard. So you're looking, for that depth we talk about at center. Somebody that provides depth at guard. Had a start last year, gave up 2 sacks, 3 hits, 11 pressures. Not great. in 178 offensive snaps. But I'm, again, under the assumption that we still have Jeff Stoutland, and he can do wonders with some of these guys, former third-round pick from the Steelers here. Why not? Only 26 years old. You never know, a little diamond in the rough maybe. But that versatility is what I liked. And again, I'm looking for someone I could get real cheap, and I think you could do that with Kendrick Green. Now up next, former Eagle, Nate Herbig. But he was supposed to be, I believe, the starting center for the Steelers last year. He had a torn rotator cuff, I believe it was, out for the season. Missed the whole season. Unfortunate for him. But look, he's only 26. I'm sure they would like to get him back. And you could probably get lower than what he was making last year, around like $4 million per year. I think obviously that injury hindered him, but he's still got a lot of talent, a promising future, always had nothing but love for Irby. So this is my ideal backup, the guy that can play center, can play guard, and God forbid you need him to start, then he can do that too. I think he's earned the ability to go start somewhere, though. So it all kind of depends on what the Eagles do here, but you'll see how I'm feeling in a second here. Up next, another former Eagle, Sua Opeta, another guy who had his season cut short before it even began, torn ACL. Now, I believe that Sua Opeta has a lot of promise here, and he's only 28 years old. I think that this dude, he could really still, do some things in the NFL. And again, if you're not getting Becton and you need a plug and play, you're going to go draft somebody. But Herbig, Opeta, those are the kind of guys I want to see here that, again, God forbid they need to start, they could. Now, number one, let's just get down to it. I've got the Eagles bringing back Mekhi Becton, and that's my thought process. That's why I'm showing you back-end guys, backup guys, emergency guys, because I want Mekhi Becton back. I like Tyler Steen, hopeful for the future, but this 6'7", 369-pound beast, only 26 years old, former first-round pick, he's a stud. And I'm not sure. He could make a lot of money here. I'm hopeful we could get him around 10 mil, maybe less. That'd be awesome per year. But he's definitely earned more. He could definitely make around the 12, 13, 14, 15 range. Team's got a lot of money, cap going up. Somebody might throw something special at him. You never know. But gave up 3 sacks last season, 2 hits, 25 pressures, 4 penalties, but 903 offensive snaps. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at those other numbers on the other players. He's played a lot more. So Mekhi Becton, for me, it's a no-brainer. Keep this offensive line intact. And he's only 26. And his versatility, his ability to play the tackle position, that's huge. Anything happens to Lane or Mailata, you've got guys that can actually play tackle. And, they didn't want to really move him last year because he was doing so good at guard. But I'm just saying for the future, I'm keeping Mekhi Becton around. So maybe one day Steen and Becton are starting together on the line. So you don't have to jump ship from anybody. Let's try to keep them both, right? So I'm bringing Mekhi Becton back. And I think Howie Roseman will. I think they will try to keep this offensive line after making Saquon Barkley the highest paid running back in history. I think it's time to keep this line intact and go run over some people and get that trophy back. So that's my mindset on the offensive line. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You saw all the free agents. Maybe there's somebody you would be intrigued by in case we didn't get back in, or you would rather have them back in, whatever's on your mind. I'd love to hear from you. Appreciate you guys hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing. If you need anything, does not have to be about the birds. Always here for you guys as you are for me. I love each and every one of you. Hope you're having a great night. I'll be dropping, I believe, the interior defensive line tomorrow, and then you'll get the edge guys on Thursday. Friday will be set for Fan Friday, and then we'll keep it moving. Saturday, linebackers, Sunday, corners. Monday, you will get the safeties. And then Tuesday, it's tampering period. We'll talk some special teams and things like that. And then we'll get ready because on the 14th, that Thursday then, I believe it is, you will get free agency beginning. So let's rock and roll through this free agency. Love to hear your thoughts. If you check out any of the other videos, all the offense is out now. Would love to hear your thoughts on those. But have yourselves a great rest of your night. Until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, go Birds!